Hello everyone and welcome to another episode in my CSS Animations mini-series. Now in this video we are going to be going over the rest of the properties that relate to kind of getting animations on our website. And there are quite a few. There's name, duration. I've kind of showed you these two already. And I believe you have not seen any of these. Now the timing function, for example, allows us to smooth out our animation or change its kind of speed. Like remember the ease in, ease out from transitions. This is the same thing. In addition, we have the delay, just like in transitions. An animation can occur after 2 seconds maybe. We have an iteration count because an animation can actually replay itself over and over as needed. And then a direction, meaning it can go forwards or backwards. So if it replays itself, it could play itself from the end to the beginning. And then fill mode, which is basically, it's about like keeping the animation the same after it finishes. And then I'll show you the shorthand for this afterwards because all of these things can be done in one CSS property. So to go ahead and get started, we're going to open up our index.html and hit the go live button. Now, as you can see here, we have our simple kind of flying in from the left and getting bigger as it comes in. It creates a kind of almost rotating effect. It's pretty cool, but we are unfortunately going to remove at least we're going to at least remove, so we're only going to have our header actually animate in, and we're going to remove these. So like I said here, animation, there's a bunch of animation properties. So to start off, we're going to want the animation name, which is going to be still flying left. And then then we can have, let's see here, we can have animation duration and timing function. So if I put the duration as 1 second, it will fly in over the course of a second. And if I put an animation timing function of ease, for example, it will go faster and slow down as it comes in. That's cool. And then if I put a delay, we can actually have it delay between maybe 3 seconds. So let's just see. We start here, and then after 3 seconds it fades in. So that's one thing to note. The H1 starts here on our site, and then after 3 seconds it'll fly in from the left. And there is a property that we can actually use to kind of have it not be on screen to start with. So let's go ahead and start here. Then we have our iteration count, which basically means we can actually have our animation iteration count to be 2. For example, and watch what happens. So it takes 3 seconds, it iterates, and then it iterates a second time. So that's basically a cool way that we can have our H1 kind of iterate or fly in multiple times if we wanted it to. Then there's the animation direction. Now, once you get here, this is where it gets kind of cool. So, for example, if we wanted to have our direction to be normal, which is by default it is normal, so after 3 seconds it'll fly in from the left. We could also have it to be reverse, which if I save this, notice it'll actually fly out, which is pretty cool. It'll get smaller and fly out twice. Now there is a bunch of other ones. There are also alternate. This one's really cool because it flies in, and then it flies out, and then it flies in, yeah. But like alternate, basically it flies in and then it plays in reverse. So it plays forward and then plays in reverse. Now there's also alternate reverse, which basically is the same thing, except it alternates starting from flying out and then it flies back in like that, which is pretty cool. And then there's the fill mode. Now the fill mode mainly is for kind of keeping an animation at its state. So the way to put that is, for example, if I set this back to normal, or let's just say I set the direction to alternate or to reverse. So notice our H1 will fly out twice. Notice at the end, it kind of shows back up here in our, just where it was before. But we can actually set our animation fill mode to be backwards. And what that means is it will stop after the second iteration and it will not come back. Although, wait, maybe this doesn't work with transforms. I need to make sure. Okay, never mind, it's forward. So basically what that means is it reverses twice, as you can see here. It goes out and away from the screen, so it flies out, And after the second time, since we have our fill mode forward, what that means is it will actually just stay out of the screen and it's gone forever, basically. Well, now it's off screen because we have a transform. But we can actually put either backwards, forwards, or we can put both, which is basically both is mainly meant for when you have an animation direction of alternate. So let me just show you what I mean. Alternate reverse, for example. What will happen is it will fly out and then fly back in, and now it'll stay here. But if I add a third iteration and have it go 3 times, it will go out, and then it'll alternate, come back in, and then it'll go out a third time, and it'll stay out. So that's what the animation fill mode both for is. It's generally, I mean, I don't personally see any reason why you wouldn't use both if you are having an alternating animation, because basically it'll just stay where it is. Once the animation's finished, it doesn't move back. And that was an issue that you might have saw in the previous videos where an animation would play and then suddenly the text would snap back to where it was before the animation started. Now the reason for that, again, is because that this fill mode was not set. So basically those are all of the different animation properties that you can kind of add to different animations in our CSS. And then of course there is the shorthand, which I'm just going to check that off for now. But you can create this shorthand simply by going animation and then literally going in this order. Now I don't personally memorize the order. I put it in this order on this list so I would know it, but you go in order as shown here. So fly in left, space 1s, space ease, space 3s, space 3, space alternate reverse, space both, and then if I do that and comment out all of these lines here, and if I comment this one out too, notice it comes out, comes back in, and comes back out. So it's the same thing. This is the shorthand. Basically, instead of using all of these, you could just use one property and space separate them in this order. So that is pretty much the shorthand. So yeah, that was pretty much all I had to show in this video. To recap, animations basically are these fundamental building blocks of all animations. Like, I mean, these keyframes here are the fundamental building blocks of pretty much all animations that you see online, or almost all of them. And they are controlled with these simple kind of properties, which are the name, the duration, the delay, the timing function, the iterations. And another quick note I realized is if we come back here and uncomment these, another possible value for, let me work on uncommenting this. There we go. Another possible value for all animation iteration count is actually infinite. So this is just a small little note. But if I reload this with infinite now, after 3 seconds it'll start animating, and it just won't stop animating. That's another thing you could do. That would actually be cool for some sort of pulsing animation if you wanted it. But yeah, that's just a cool thing to note, that you can kind of just have infinite doing that. And if you had the animation directions going forward, for example, it would snap. So it would kind of come up here and then it would snap away, and then it would do that infinite amounts of times. But yeah, I do like alternate reverse because it's very smooth. It just comes in and then comes out over and over. So yeah, that's just a cool little note. And then of course, if we wanted to apply this to the shorthand, instead of doing 3 here, which was for the iterations, we could just do infinite again. And that would make it go infinite times. So that has pretty much been all of the animation properties, or all of the basic animation properties that we can create to allow for these kinds of animations. And remember, a lot of the magic does really come from these keyframes. You can define anything here. Like, remember in the last episode we had rotations. Let me just re-add that really quick. So rotate like 0, and then it would rotate 360 degrees. If I save this, that's awesome. It just rotates in and out. So that was pretty much almost all of animations. In the next episode, we actually are going to be going over the last kind of feature, which would be last basic feature, which would be defining a custom timing function. Now, up until now, we've been using the built-in linear, which basically has it come in linearly like that. We also have been using ease in, ease in, out. But you can actually define your own kind of timing to make it go as fast or as slow as you want when it's coming in or coming out. Like, you can really change the speed of your animation however you see fit with a custom timing function, which we will be going over in the next episode. So if you missed any of the topics that we've already covered on grid, or my bad, if you missed any of the topics we already covered on animations and transitions, you can check out the playlist, which is linked in the description, where I've been uploading daily. If you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for notifications whenever I post new videos. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.